It's pedalboard challenge time.
What can we do for £500?
Pounds/dollars. Hey everyone, and welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello and welcome. First off, thank you to everyone for subscribing.
Indeed.
Please subscribe. Secondly, thanks for going to That Pedal Show store to buy merch. It's how we fund the show.
Fantastic. Okay, pedalboard challenge day.
Yeah, we did this. It probably was years ago now.
Indeed.
As always, it always feels like it's months ago, but it was probably years ago. We did a £350 board challenge. Other currencies, literally no idea, but dollars, pounds and euros, we're in the same ballpark.
Yep. The 351 was really hard.
Yeah. The feedback on that was, please redo this at different budgets. And the budget that kept coming up and up and up and up was 500. So £500.
I thought, 500 quid? No worries
Easy
at all.
peasy.
I'm going to nail this.
Yeah.
I found it really challenging.
You're on the cusp of really serious at £500.
Yeah.
Which is not to make light of the fact that 500 is a lot of money. It's a huge amount of money to spend on a pedal board. But in terms of, the kind of pedal boards that we look in, week out, you're on the edge of something really serious there.
Yeah. And we're just talking pedal choices, right? We're not talking the board, not talking power, patch cables. It's just for the pedals.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll expand that discussion as we go on. But the rules of the challenge are this. You've got £500 / dollars, pounds in our case, to spend on a board. That board must cover a relatively wide range of sounds that kind of A, make you happy. Mm-hmm. So, the kind of sounds that me and Dan really like personally. Secondly, that would cover the kind of thing that you're likely to do. So I don't know whether that's a pub or a function type gig or, basic bit of recording. Now, you can buy new and you can buy used. The stipulation on used is if you're going to put a used pedal on the board, you must prove that it is available to buy at that price. Okay. So we want to see some evidence from, I don't know, eBay or Reverb.com or somewhere like that.
I have screenshots.
Okay, so he's used something used. Other than that, the winner will be they who come up with the board that A, makes them the most happy. Simon will be the judge. And B, covers a relatively wide range of tones in our worlds.
Yeah. We just were able to choose
anything.
Yeah. As far as amps are concerned,
yeah,
I've just gone for the cleanest pedalboard platform that sounds great at a range of volumes.
Yeah,
from quiet rehearsal to loud gig.
Okay, I've gone for something that's got 2 channels to increase my gain. To increase my gain. To be fair, I did use Mesa Lone Star for many years. So anyway, we'll discuss all of that as we go through the boards. I think it's reveal o'clock, isn't it?
I believe so.
Right. Ready?
Go on then.
Thanks to Universal Audio for the nice blanket, by the way.
Nice.
I hope this isn't cheating. I've come in the day before, Sunday. We're filming the main show on a Monday, and I really wanted to have a listen to a few things to really give this some proper thought. Sometimes when we do these challenges, you've got to make a decision really quickly, and we do have a lot of pedals, embarrassingly. So I wanted to actually listen to a few things, not least some of the new things we've been sent recently, a couple of pedals from Echo Line, some stuff from Jupiter Effects, all of which sounds great. Really want to feature those on upcoming shows. The point is 500 quid, we'll discuss this in the main video, but 500 quid is a real cusp. I'm going to choose my words carefully here. There's nothing inherently good about handmade, right? I've got no problem at all with a machine stuffing my circuit boards rather than a human. But I do think component choice is really important. And there's some things that go hand in hand with the way the sort of small run modern boutique builders make pedals that push the price into something that doesn't really fit on this board. Like a nice analog modulation pedal is usually 200 quid plus, right? Same with a really nice distortion pedal. So math says you can't have 3 of those. So all of which is to say, you've got some decisions to make. Now, I've pointed the bulk of my budget at the gain stages because for me, that's the foundation. That is where the tone is. It's in how you make up that gain and how you overdrive it, given that we are talking about rock and pop music and blues music in my case. Overdrive is essential. So here's what I've chosen. Hudson Broadcast. we'll discuss it in the show. Rockett HRM, Hot Rubber Monkey. It's a variation of the Dude pedal, which is a Dumble-based overdrive. Fox Gear Echo Sex Baby. Choosing a delay was really tough because all the delays I like are analog, apart from the Free the Tone digital ones, and they are crazy expensive. So I wanted something with a bit of character. You'll hear that in due course. Tone City, Angel Wing, sounds fine. It's a chorus, doesn't sound that different from a CE2. And in order just to bring it in under that magic £500 or dollars, I had to make a compromise there. Money no object, it would be the Jam pedals, Ripley 4, which is a chorus and phaser in one, or indeed the Harmonious Monk. Those are my modulation pedals of choice. However, we can't afford that, so this will do. Here we go then. Pedal Train Metro 16, as you can see. I have actually modified it with that extra piece of wood there, which just lifts it up a little bit and allows me to get various different power supplies underneath. Dan and I tend to cover the whole board in soft side Velcro. That means you can arrange whatever you want on there easily and you can move it around easily. So soft side Velcro on the underside. Some people get annoyed because it does take all these little bits of dust and crap in. To stick the pedals on, we use what some people call pedal tape. It's actually 3M dual lock. We've covered this many times before, but I don't think it ever hurts to reinforce it. It's this stuff. And you just cut it to length. The good news is you don't have to use very much of it to get the pedal mounted on the board. If you've got the HRM there, look, you can see that there's not much on there at all. And that performs a really strong bond to the board. And given that that's my first pedal, I'll stick it on there. It's evil stuff. So I put them on upside down just in the first instance, just to make sure I've got enough room to get everything on. That one's got some old Velcro on there. And I think we've got enough room there. It's good. All these have top mounted jacks. The Angel Wing has side mounted, so I just need to think about that on the end. But the good news is on this Metro 16, we got plenty of room, so I can go ahead and stick that down. I'm doing this upside down, so there you go. That's how much science is going into this. Broadcast can go fairly close to it, but I want to think about, am I going to step on this when I'm trying to step on this? So we'll give that a little bit of room there. If I was doing this properly, I would swap that normal Velcro out for pedalboard tape, but it's okay, it's okay. And then on the Angel Wing here, look, I need to do this one. So all we do is I'm just going to put two thin strips on here. So we'll take that piece there. We'll chop it down the middle. Guitar players using scissors on camera, eh? It's a good idea to leave the screws free, just in case you ever need to get into the back of the pedal there. But that will be enough to stick that really tightly. We'll leave enough room for the jack. In fact, I'm just going to put that in now. There's no complex wiring here at all. So, oh, that's annoying. I'll use a longer one. So no complex wiring here at all. We'll just go ahead and finish the cabling. Not exactly complex, so that can just go in there, that can go in there, and finally HRM. They're just in sequence. I did try, boom. Now, as you could tell earlier, I was hinting at what was underneath here. I've chosen to use Dan's gig rig power supply because I own it all, right? I think if you're starting off on a £500 board, you probably wouldn't use this. It's expensive. It's kind of fiddly. Something like a simple power brick from any of the companies who make them might be more appropriate. The massive benefit with this is it will grow with you over time. And so when we get into doing the huge complex boards, we just add bits to this and then it powers the whole board, no problem. Okay, there's my board. The perils of working upside down, number one. I've put the chorus and the delay the wrong way around. I want the chorus before the delay, so we'll just swap those. While I'm doing that, quick one on patch cables. If you want to know why I'm using purple patch cables, it's because they sound better. Boom. Right, all we need to do now, hopefully not boom, obviously, but all we need to do now is plug in the power, just make sure everything works before we get into the room. Boom.
When I heard that the budget was 500 quid, I thought, I've got this, I'll smash this. But boy, oh boy, this has been really tricky. Gain stage wise, I really wanted to use the Bad Bob, but that just completely limited me to everything else I was going to use because budget wise. So I looked at the new Touch Overdrive, and because I've always loved this thing, it sounds great. However, so this is the new one, but you can get the old one for a couple of pounds less on eBay. So I've gone for this one. Spark Booster, that's 40 quid for that. So that's my gain stage. Let me just double check my numbers. I think, right, £92 on eBay for that one. So that's my gain stage. Into the Touch and then into the Spark. The Spark has a little bit of edge in there as well. It's really nice. Delay was a big thing. So it came down to, I had 4 on the shortlist. I had the JHS Series 3, the Walrus Spacetime, the ARP-87, and the MXR Carbon Copy. Now, I could have gone with a deluxe carbon copy. That sounds really great, and it does have a tap tempo. The tap tempo was the thing I was missing from this lot. So I've ended up going with the Walrus Audio ARP-87. I've always really, really liked this delay. It sounds great. The great thing about the tap tempo is if I can tap the time in quick enough, I can get like a slap back, like a really quick, fast repeat. And that means that I don't need reverb on the board. Okay. Yeah, I was tossing up between these two as far as gain stages are concerned. The Touch already has a nice mid-range to it, so I think these two will work really well together. What else? Okay, I wanted to get the Ditto one there. That was just a pipe dream. Of course, flanger chorusing is really important to me. And I was thinking about, where did it go? I was thinking about the Elect Lady. Now, I've used this for a long time. It's really good. However, I've opted for the Komorebi from Dreadbox. It's a wonderful chorus flanger. I can actually go in between a shorter and a longer delay time for the modulation, so I can go between those tight flange sounds to chorus sounds. I've only used this once, and I just remember it sounded absolutely glorious. So I thought I'm going to push the bridge out and go for that one as opposed to the Elect Lady, only because this is more flexible. The Elect Lady is great for mistress flange sounds, but the chorus in this is superb. So I've hunted around on eBay for the price for this one, and I can get it for 140 quid. I mean, new, you can get them for 165 quid. And it is a superb flanger for that money. But because I can get that for 140 quid on eBay, I've also managed to squeeze on Trellicopter, which I can get for £31 on Reverb as well. So all up, it comes to 490 quid, which is pretty good. Right, let's get it on the board. Right, delays on, Trellicopter, Spark, Touch. It's all on. Right, good to go. Nice. Very nice.
So interesting. What you can see is we've both got, so Dan's got 2 gain stages.
Yep.
A delay and a wobbly device.
Yes.
I've got
2 wobbly devices.
I know. I've got 3 gain stages, a delay and a wobbly device, and Dan has managed to squeeze in the Mua Trellicopter as well. Tremolo.
Indeed.
I had the flipping... Anyway, so let's talk money then.
Okay. I've written it all down. I came prepared. Well, I came
There's a first
not
time for
completely
everything.
unprepared. Right, okay. 140 for the Como.
New.
No. 100, but new is only 165.
Okay.
You can get them for 140 second hand.
Okay, 140.
140. 185 for the ARP-87, new, from Anderton's. The Touch you can get for £92 because the new Touch, I left it over there, is the black one.
Yeah.
Which I think is £119. You can pick those up for £92. The other ones.
Great.
Spark new is £40.
Is it?
£40. Brand new.
Wow.
And £33 for the Trollicopter, come to £490.
£490. Good work. Okay. My scores on the doors are HRM, full whack, 199.
Right.
But
it's so good.
Andertons are whacking them out for 169 at the moment, so you can decide which way you want that.
Yep.
Broadcast 165, even for the dual version.
I did see that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that's
155
really
for the
good
single
shout.
knob, 165 for the two knob, if two switch, if indeed you can get them, because they've got some supply issues at the moment.
Right.
Angel Wing is 39.
That's crazy. Okay.
And the Fox Gear is 99 quid. So I'm about 30 quid in.
Well done.
Something like that.
Well done. Wow. Okay.
I guess we should hear them then, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Talk me through your amp then. It dawned on Simon as we did the amp reveal that you've got tremolo in the amp as well.
I do. So I can sell you my Trellicopter for £33.
Oh man, I'm so tempted. Maybe we do that before the end of the video.
Maybe. But, inflation, prices might go up by the end of the video.
Talk us through your amp then. How are you going to set your amp up?
Really clean. The Tone King has got a really sensitive front end. It's a lovely pedal platform, but it has that thing where it's set really clean, but I can push it a bit harder with the guitar. It just starts to break up. So lovely and clean, but if I start giving it some shoulder,
Are you using the attenuator?
I don't believe so. Where is it? It's on the back.
Yeah, it's got a really good attenuator, this amp. The Iron Man built in.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
I mean, of course it does. Oh, wow. So not currently, but that's very good to know.
And what's great about it is you can turn it off in the clean channel.
Oh, wow.
So you can have your clean channel wide open.
And have the...
And then when you
That's very
switch
clever.
to the overdrive channel, it can...
I mean, of course, that's very clever. I know that. I'm just nodding in agreement with you because I knew all these things.
So the Lone Star doesn't quite have that, but it does have two channels, same, overdrive and a clean channel, but it also has switchable output volumes.
Yeah.
So I could go from 100 watts clean to 10 watts dirty if you wanted to do that.
Right.
In order to just make that overdrive channel a little more compressive. But of course, in today's discussions of having to play at more sensible volumes, that stuff starts to get really, really useful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And actually, the reason I chose the Lone Star, I used it for years and years and years, and then it developed a problem. The reverb stopped working, and then something else stopped working. Oxidization happens over the... anyway, that's a story for another day. I plugged it in yesterday, and it worked. So let's see.
Happy days.
Let's see.
Okay.
And I did use it for years. There's a clean channel and a dirty channel, and I have it set up like this.
That's the sound of an amp that knows where it wants to be live.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like nothing flubby about that. It's all...
Yeah, nice mid character.
Yeah,
I've just
really
I
great.
turned it up a hair, actually.
Lovely.
Yeah, and tons of headroom. It will go like so much louder than that.
Yeah.
If one needs it to. But for the first time in ages, I'm going to use the dirt channel as well. Sounds a little bit scratchy at the moment because it's pretty quiet. I don't know what the thing was saying. .92. Dan and I are often pushing 100 and some in here, and at that point we'll get there. Don't worry about that. Now it's not a lot of gain, but just a little bit of gain.
Sure.
And when I plug the humbuckers in a sec,
Nice.
that gain will make more sense. But the reason I think 2 channels, we tend not to use dual channel amps. I always think one is a horrific compromise. But where it works in this setting is that...
Did you say horrific compromise?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I always love the sound of one channel and never the sound of the other.
Right. Yeah, sure.
But with this amp, I think, and not only that, is this massive headroom difference where you step on the overdrive channel and so often you just lose all your headroom and volume. But the way I think I'd use the overdrive channel is as the quieter channel.
Right.
So if you're trying to sit underneath a singer,
That's, yeah,
on
sure.
the clean channel, you've got too many transients.
Yeah.
And as you'll see when I turn the gain stages on in a minute, those transients get in the way, whereas you can use the overdrive channel just driven a bit harder and set lower, and it's a great rhythm guitar sound. It's
Lovely.
almost counterintuitive.
Right.
But yeah. So
I think that's a great way to do it, actually.
and both of us have gone for inbuilt reverb.
It's one of those sounds that you can just have on all the time and it just sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and you've got quite a lot dialed in.
Yeah.
It's over here.
So good. Nice.
The Reverb Kings.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so plenty of reverb.
This sounds so good.
Your amp's louder and it sounds better because it's louder. So now we're into, I'm going to turn up, going to turn up, going to turn up. You know how it goes. Okay, gain stages in, Dan.
Okay. I've gone with the touch. It's, as implied by the name, it's very touch sensitive, dynamic overdrive. So
We'll just overlook the graphic of a semi-naked woman,
yeah,
then, shall we?
Just moving along. So what I find with this is really great is I can actually have quite a lot of gain dialed in,
Yeah.
and then use my dynamics to control that gain, or using the volume of the guitar. So It's great, isn't it?
Really, really great. Nice. You went from kind of backed off, nice rhythm guitar sound, to full on rock.
Exactly.
Not high gain, but just nice rock raunch, as it were.
And so it's got that sort of dynamic loading on the input, which means that when this is rolled down, it's not muddy. It still has
not losing too much.
Really, really great.
It's great. We've always loved that overdrive.
Always loved it.
Okay, Spark then. I'm slightly surprised to not see the Spark before the touch.
Yeah, it might be an own goal for me. So, but basically, I wanted to be able to lift that sound. And because I'm using quite a lot of gain in there, I thought instead of using the Spark to boost into it, if I have enough gain on that pedal, then I can just use a Spark to lift post.
Yeah.
Right? So the Spark is really cool in its own. It's not a typical clean boost as such, that it has hair in it. So if I go from...
It's pushing.
It is pushing.
Pushing the mic pre's quite nicely there.
So now if I hit the front end of that with the touch...
Really nice. And what will be happening there, although there's no real way of measuring it, is that amount of extra signal hitting the front of the amp will be overdriving the amp.
Exactly.
Because it's just set on the edge.
Exactly.
There's such an interesting harmonic thing that happens there. You know, it's a... Dan and I both like amps with a lot of headroom, but that's not to say we don't like them to break up a bit when you hit the front end. So it is overdriving in the amp a little bit as well.
It just goes... You take it to that point where there's something else to offer.
Yeah.
At that edge, you know. Yeah, it's lovely.
Okay, so you've got plenty of rock on the go there. Can you get a smooth kind of overdrive in there, or is that not a sound you'd really need?
I guess the smooth thing for me would be, you know, manipulating the guitar more so than it. So you notice I have got it quite bright.
Yeah.
Which is the sound I really like, but
the tone knob is at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, but all I would do in that case is just use this. Funnily enough, before we did the shows on, it's not something I ever did.
You wouldn't
I'd never touched the tone control on it. But then seeing the sounds that you were able to get out of the bridge pickup on your Strat, it's led me down this, you know, so I've discovered so many other sounds. Yeah. You get this perception that as soon as you dial the tone control back, you just lose so much. But you just get this other palette.
Yeah.
So
depends guitar to guitar, doesn't it?
Exactly. But I just find because the touch is so dynamic, it lends itself to, you know, a lot of the stuff going on here.
So on the subject of guitars then, how many guitars are you taking to your imaginary gig stroke recording session?
I will take 3.
Let's hear at least one other then, shall we, Dan?
Okay, all right. So, long bottom, custom T. So the wide range humbuckers, I'm falling in love with them.
It sounds really, really great. There's a mid-range in that's just really lovely, which you could hear as the feedback started to come.
Yeah, it's completely killer.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So a bit more push than your regular telly, or push
Yeah.
more in the sort of lower mid-range, a bit more.
Exactly. It's got that. It's warmer. It doesn't have that telly edge, which is a thing that I love, but having on everything can be a bit overkill. But it's just got I don't know. There's just a warmth and clarity to these pickups that I love, and again, works really great with a really dynamic overdrive pedal.
Yeah.
The other thing, like with the Spark on, that adds a little bit of that top end sibilance almost. I found that just knocking the volume off just a hair, and then adding a little bit of Spark onto it.
Totally different frequency band than the other telly.
Yeah, completely
different.
Yeah.
Tons and tons of bottom end as well.
Yeah.
Really nice. Yeah. Really nice. So you can go from clean, amp clean. I mean, neither of us ever plays with a clean kind of metal song, middle eight breakdown clean.
No.
So it's always slightly on the edge clean and then up from there.
Sure.
Nice. Very nice. Okay. Whatever gig or recording session or anything I do is always going to start with a Strat, probably this one. So that's where we'll begin, and we'll hear some humbuckers in a sec. So amp, as I mentioned. Quite a different EQ curve.
Yeah, but
it's much less bottom end.
Yeah,
I have it dialed out quite a bit in the Lone Star just because it gets so heavy.
Right.
In the bottom end, and it starts muddy, real muddy in the mix, and a nice kind of mid-range thing. Almost never use it without a pedal on.
Sure.
Almost.
Sure.
I mean, maybe if you're chopping away,
Is that the Klopmans?
Yeah.
Got those mids.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nice.
And there is a lot of mid for cut.
Yeah.
Because you kind of need that cut if you're chopping away on some horrific disco song just before the break. Sorry. Actually not horrific at all. It's really good fun to play. But having some sort of clean, choppy sound works really well in those 2 and 4s.
I love how present it is.
All that stuff.
Yeah, it's really great.
But, we don't want to stay there for too long. So the first gain stage is the Hudson Broadcast on its sort of cleaner setting.
Okay. Unreal.
So, bit of push,
Yeah.
bit of gain, not too much gain, but just enough as a sort of a clean boost. And then what's really cool about it is it's got this low cut thing on it. So if you start getting too overdriven, which we will in a minute, you can just slice the low end off.
Right.
So which on its own, you're going to wonder who would ever use that. But
Sure.
think about 60s pop guitar sounds. Think about sitting in that mix, not muddying up the low end there. It can be really handy as
Amazing.
you put the gain on.
Yep.
So that works. What's surprising about the broadcast, as time's gone on, it's hard for me to live without fuzz. And I love fuzz, as you know. And I plugged the broadcast in after a little while of not using it very much, and kind of got this pleasant surprise.
Unreal. What does that foot switch do?
It's two sides. So you've got high gain and low gain.
Okay.
The single knob, the single foot switch broadcast does all the same sounds, by the way.
It's got a switch on it.
It's got a switch on it, yeah.
Okay. Right.
And
that just kicks in that.
like a
other
physical
speaker.
switch, and that does that. There is a gain trim on the inside, and I'm guessing it's pretty high up,
Right.
because that is a really decent fuzz tone.
That sounds fantastic.
Really nice, rocky fuzz tone. Not too scooped out in the mid, so I love that. The other thing I can't live without is a bit of sort of rich, thick, Dumbly type drive
Go on then.
in the...
One thing neither of us have on our boards is a tuner.
It's worth talking about, isn't it? So no, neither of us have dropped. I probably could have got a tuner for my remaining 33, some cheapo thing. In this instance, I would always use a headstock tuner.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not great. Some of them have issues in a live environment, but if I've only got 500 quid to spend, I can live with being a few cents out of tune.
Sure.
For sure, and a headstock tuner will do the job, and you can definitely get one of those for under 33 quid. But yeah, I mean, we are both having to, work around that. There we are. All right, HRM by J Rockett. It's called the Hot Rubber Monkey, and it's based on a one particular modded Dumble Overdrive special.
Wow.
And it sounds like this. I was driving along in my car one day and I saw this deer out of the window and I thought about this song and it sounds like this. Ton of gain.
Amazing.
Absolutely ton of gain.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of thick mid-range thing that I really love. But
I love how it works with that side of the broadcaster as well.
yeah, I definitely switched them around and tried the HRM after, but having that boost after, just
Amazing.
really, really sort of, yeah, I really like it. But of course, that thing comes into its own with a slightly fatter sounding guitar.
Okay.
If I take two guitars, it's going to be Strat, and it will be one other. It'll either be this, the Casino, or maybe my Junior,
Right.
the Collings Junior. But probably this, just to do the humbucker job. And you can hear the difference this is going to make to the amp.
Sure.
10, 10, 10.
All across the board. Unreal. Unreal.
How cool. I'd just forgotten how awesome the broadcast is.
Yep.
So
wow.
I think, you know, it's pretty loud, and both of the pedals have got master volumes for, you know, the broadcaster's got a master volume for each of its gain sides, as has the HRM. So, you know, if it is too loud or not quite loud enough, there's enough headroom in the amp
Right.
to be up or down so you can sit. Interestingly, I'll turn the HRM on, play into the clean channel and the dirty channel. What should happen when we go into the dirty channel is it should get a bit quieter.
Sure.
We'll see.
It just sounds so good.
Which is demonstrating that point that I mentioned earlier about having that dirty channel there as a kind of secondary, like a lower level rhythm sound.
Yeah.
Because you just lose all the transients in the headroom of the clean channel. It is slightly counterintuitive way to do it, but you benefit from the nice amp overdrive from your rhythm sound. But then when you want to smash out headroom, pedal, boom.
Amazing. Wow. Okay. Well, jealous of the broadcast.
I've forgotten how great it sounds.
Yeah. But to be fair, the Dumble thing sounds so good as well. As per normal, I've gone for the not so crazy mid hump thing.
Yeah.
A bit more even. But it just sounds so good. And I'd forgotten about that fuzz sound.
Yeah.
It's so
I don't
good.
remember it being that fuzzy.
No. Okay.
It's
All
cool.
right.
Okay, wobblies then.
Wobblies. Fair enough. We have only featured this pedal once before on a flanger show. And I remember thinking, I love how it looks.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And then I remember turning it on going, wow. It sounded fantastic. Not crazy expensive. What I wanted to get from the flanger, because I love those sounds. But what's really cool about this, you've got your depth, your feedback, and your rate, but you can change the delay time, so you can get more chorusy sounds.
Oh,
Switch between chorus and flanger.
The memory is slowly coming back.
So if I start out more flanger-esque. With the authentic clock noise and everything in there as well.
Yeah, fully analog, right?
Completely analog.
Yeah.
But listen to what happens when I increase that. They call it static, because basically increases the delay time.
absolutely killer.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
It's absolutely killer.
Yeah. I just, and that's the reason I sort of opted for that as opposed to the Mistress, which I love and it's great, but the Mistress gives me that, sorry, it's not the Mistress, it's the Elect Lady, which is the sort of Mistress-esque clone.
Yeah.
That, the range of sounds from chorus through to flanger through to extreme flanging, from subtle stuff, and I love that whole range.
Yeah. Having the chorus in there is a great boon, isn't it?
Awesome, really, really great, and it doesn't sound like it's considered. You know what I mean? It sounds, when you increase the delay time, it just sounds so fat and lush. Yeah, I love it. That's really great. And my other wobbly is this, the Trilocopter, which is right at the end. Now, I've been using one of these for years and years, but before we even started the show. It's it's an optical tremolo that doesn't cost a whole heap of money. It sounds really great. Now, I would only use a tremolo, like, for one sound like that, and it'd be pretty subtle. But it's amazing what a tiny little bit of movement and amplitude will do at the end of the signal. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and particularly relevant if you were then to add a few quid onto this, add another amp and go wet dry.
Oh, magic.
Tremolo wet dry is a truly magical thing.
Wonderful.
I'm totally regretting not having a tremolo. I mean, after
33 quid.
After overdrive, it's probably my favourite guitar effect.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And reverb, overdrive, reverb, then tremolo. Yeah. Oh, very cool, mate. I've obviously the wobbly is my one massive area of compromise. I came in yesterday and I A/B'd a whole load of overdrive pedals that I hadn't heard in a while.
Right.
And just was so hooked on the sound of those two.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a big part of the budget. Can't live without delay, which we'll come on to in a minute. So really, the Angel Wing is, I mean, it sounds like a CE2 to me. You tell me if it sounds like a CE2.
All right.
Actually, it's got a slightly more flangey quality to it.
Yeah, it's thicker.
Let's try this. Sorry, just playing John Mayer's new single there. Oh, hang on. Maybe it was Eric Clapton.
That level,
Yeah.
is it a balance control or
No,
is it?
it's a mix.
It's a mix control. Yeah. That's
yeah. Yeah.
So it's basically you can go to a vibrato.
Vibrato,
So that's
yeah.
really cool.
Which is why the chorus sounds didn't sound great. Let's just turn the mix down a little bit.
Very nice.
Sorry, my bad. I had the level turned up too much, which made it vibrato. For those of you who don't know, chorus and vibrato are the same thing. Chorus has got the dry sound in, and what that level control top left does is it mixes out the dry sound.
Yes, it's not a volume increase. By looking at level, you might think,
Yes.
oh, that controls the volume. Actually, no, it controls the level of the chorus in the mix.
It's a bit of a chuck away, if I'm honest.
I like it. It was 40 quid?
£39, yeah.
Far out.
Yeah, just for a bit of thickening. And again, you've heard it like...
I spent £39 on thickening.
You've heard it set fairly extreme. Here it is more subtly.
One for Pete.
for some sort of, lead guitar fattening type sound. I knew that was going to go wrong most of the way through it. I have had to play that solo a couple of times. If you're playing rockier stuff, and it's 80s stuff particularly, a little bit of chorus mixed in low over a gain sound is...
very cool.
It gives it that 80s shimmer a little bit, doesn't it?
It's really nice. See, what I've done that's different to you is you've got your modulation after your gain stage.
Yeah.
I've got mine before. And it's specifically with flanger, I like to run it before because I like the way it becomes, to me, it feels more organic. It's less effecty.
Yeah.
So if I go back to another flanger type sound. Then I put the overdrive on after.
You're simply the best. Yeah, really cool. Such a cool sound. It's nice to have a bit of wobble, isn't it?
Yeah. I need it.
Yeah.
I need it.
Yeah, for that fourth
You
go
got a
around.
chin? No. It's that.
Yeah, it's vibrato. Don't you know? Mike Landau says it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, delay then.
Within the budget that I had, the Walrus ARP-87 sort of came out on top because we've both used this pedal. It sounds fantastic.
Yeah, we've been impressed with it ever since we first plugged it in.
Yeah. Really great analog drive-through, really great range of sounds and from digital to, and beyond. But the tap tempo just means that I can go from a longer and doing that, in the middle of a song or whatever. So to have different delay times right there, sort of really, really cool.
Yeah. So it's got a number of different algorithms, hasn't it, I believe?
Yep. So you've got the analog delay. Okay, this is a lo-fi delay. And a slapback. That on its own is almost...
It's doubling like a flanger thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Very
really cool.
All I would normally do, though, like in a live thing, I just probably have it on digital, have it dampen the repeats a little bit of modulation.
It's killer. It's such a great delay, that.
Yeah,
Being
it
able
really
to
is.
affect those repeats in a number of different ways just to get it to sit with what you want it to do.
The dampen control as well. Just being able to...
What does that do? It's just
knocks
like
knocks the top end off the repeats as well. So
right.
you can, which is what I've done with those digital delays. I've actually got the dampen on, so just to take a little bit of that sizzle off the top. Yeah, really, really great.
Really cool, really cool. And what did you say that was, 180 quid or something?
£185.
Yeah,
it's a lot of delay considering it's got
for that much
tempo.
money. I mean, I had a real tough one with the delay because there's plenty of, again, if you look at the Tone City range or any of those brands, there's a 29 or a 39 pound delay in the TC Electronic, the lower end of that. And when we've had them more, I've never liked them, never liked the harshness of the tone. There's one called a Tape Machine from Tone City, and it just sounds weird to me. It doesn't,
I know what you mean.
Perfectly serviceable and whatever. And Dan and I have fairly rarefied delay tastes, so at the moment both of us are using a Free the Tone delay, which is just stunning sonically. Analog Man ARDX20. I even looked at that just to see if I could find one used, but guess what? They're just as much used as they are new. And then maybe MXR Carbon Copy.
I looked at that as well.
But it's just too dark for an all-round delay for me. It's a fantastic analog echo. But for the delay, it's a lot too dark. Anyway, so the other delay family that Dan and I are both huge fans of is the Echo Rec, right? The Binson Echo Rec, which is a famous old drum delay thing used by David Gilmour and Sid Barrett and a handful of others. The Echo Sex Baby is one head of that.
Right.
So it's only one head, but it does give you some of the character of it. And the way I use delay is in two main ways.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I really would have loved, a sound that I've got into massively just recently, is a short room reverb. Now, using the Echo Sex, I've gone for turn tempo rather than tap tempo.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
So you've got the time knob there. And if we start with the short delay times, you can get this kind of room echo-y, almost room echo-y kind of thing. So. It's not exactly that thing. It's not really a room reverb at all. It's a slapback, but it gives you a sort of flavour of that. And I really love it for the rock and roll stuff and anything that sounds a bit old school. A bit of noise picking up there. Mm-hmm. Interesting. But then, of course, you increase the time and you get up to what I would consider more of a delay sound. It's a bit noisy, actually. So it's got an analog delay character to it. And then, of course, get some humbuckers on the go. Almost in tune. And it enables me to get that the heavy overdrive sound associated with a couple of famous players. You know, the sort of Larry and Robin sound.
Nice, very nice.
Just the subtle single repeat that sits in under there, used in a lot of that kind of music, and just fills it out really nicely. Now, not having tap tempo is a pain.
Sure.
But I think once you used it for a minute,
if you can change those quick enough,
you'd know.
Yeah,
you
totally.
Literally just to turn down and to bend down and turn that time knob is not too difficult.
Yeah.
If you know a couple of different settings of it.
There's an argument to say that tap tempo is overrated.
Yeah, well, that's not true. If I was playing the aforementioned Whitesnake solo, I probably would tap that.
Okay.
So that it was in time.
Yeah, I just love, you know, stick on a tape delay. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just sounds epic.
Yeah.
Right, there it is. I I mean, certainly with the gain ranges, that your sounds are just epic. And I think because that's the core of everything, I've got to give this challenge to you.
Yeah.
No, I do. I mean,
I reckon I had a slight unfair advantage because I did come in yesterday and I did hack through a whole load of gain pedals.
Right.
To have a listen, which of course is what you would do, or at least you don't have the luxury of doing that if you don't own loads of gain pedals.
Sure.
So of course, if you're putting together a pedal board either for the first time or you're augmenting your current pedal board, then you do kind of have to buy blind, don't you?
Indeed.
So closer to where Dan began without having to audition stuff.
If I got rid of the Trollicopter and the Spark, how much is the broadcast? No, I'm still miles off.
165.
Yeah. But no, I'm assuming, Simon, that you'll agree this has got to go to Mick.
Well, I think on a fun scale, Dan's got more fun sounds.
Yeah. The Komorebi.
Yeah, you're both very polite and kind. And now, say what you're going to say, Simon. Finish it off. However, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I think there's a lesson in there, isn't it? Just make it louder and more gainy, people, and you'll win the challenge.
Well, the lesson is that your gain sounds are the sounds where you want to spend your cash, because they're the sounds that are going to be at the core of most of the things you're doing.
Assuming that you play with gain, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I just think the broadcasters are just once again reminded me how awesome it is.
Yeah.
So good. Well, that was fun.
Cool, 500 quid. So clearly the next one we'll do is 750, I think.
Okay.
And I think there are some real serious decisions to be made there. And let it be said, we should have said that at the top of the show, but no one is saying go out and spend £500 on a pedal board tomorrow. This might take you...
A week. 10 days.
One thing that I think is really important is to say that with your next purchase, keep in mind that you may keep that pedal for 10 or 20 years.
Yeah, totally.
And it takes a while to get there, and that sort of immediate urge to go out and buy 10 £39 pedals because it gets you to the pedal board quickly. What are you going to be doing with those £39 pedals in 10 years? Yeah. Maybe you'll still be using it. Maybe they'll be in a cupboard somewhere.
Sure.
But I think buying less stuff that really makes you happy from the off
absolutely
is the way to go, personally speaking.
Yeah. Well, that was fun. Brilliant. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. A massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is...
Andertons of Guildford in Surrey, where you can buy most of this stuff.
Indeed. And our dear friends in Australia.
Pedal Empire of Brisbane, Queensland, likewise.
We have some links in the description.
We do. You can find all these things, most of which are probably discontinued by now or unavailable because of parts scarcity. Who knows what that'll look like in a few years' time. And if you buy stuff from Sweetwater in the US, Dan and I get kickback off that, and it greatly helps fund this show.
Indeed. A massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Really appreciate your support.
Thank you so much.
And again, thatpedalshowstore.com, where you can get our merch, hats and strings and stickers and pedals and all there.
All stuff.
All the stuff.
Good stuff.
Brilliant.
Beautifully packaged.
Indeed. Thanks so much. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you on Monday for VCQ. Bye.
Bye.